Bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, ba. Bum, bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, 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 ba, ba. Bum, bum, ba, da, bum, bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum. Huh. Bum, 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 ba, bum. Huh. Bum, 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 ba, bum. Yeah. Boot, doo, 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 doo. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh, I forgot to put it on the loading. Oh, yeah, there we go. Live stream loading. Live stream loading. Boop, doo, doodly doo. Boop, boop, boodly doo. Boop, 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 doop. Huh. Boodly doo, boop, boop, boop. Hoo. Boop, 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 boop. Hee. Ba, da, 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 da. Yeah. All right, there we go. What's up, Internet? How's it going? We're doing an early stream. Early stream. What is happening? What's going on? It's Thursday. It's the early stream. We have an early stream coming out here today on a Thursday. So those of you that watch the normal show at 4 o'clock, that show will be as usual at 4 o'clock. This is the European schedule stream. So this is the early stream for the European viewers and stuff like that. We have a lot of people that follow in the Deutschland, in the UK, in España, Holland. Don't forget Denmark and Russia and all those European countries, because I live in Pacific Standard Time on the west coast of the United States, so my normal broadcasting time is 4 o'clock p.m. So it's sort of the afternoon when we broadcast here, which means that it is either midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the European time zone, so it's pretty late for a lot of those people. So I've had some requests to do some early shows, which the goal is to eventually do a whole bunch more early shows as we move along here in the progression of kind of building the community and doing all this kind of stuff. And so that's the reason for the once a week. We're going to try and do this once a week, either on Tuesday or Thursday. We're going to see how it goes today. If we have a lot of people show up and all that kind of stuff, then it's definitely worthwhile to do, and we'll keep doing it for the European times, right? Instead of broadcasting to Europe in the middle of the night and all the people going, "Oh man, I was asleep." So we'll be doing some certain things here and there to try and accommodate some of the international time zones, and that's the reason for doing this today. We do have so let's see here. We have let's have some people shout out where they're at, because we have some people already mentioned that already. So if anybody else out there, go ahead and shout out where you're at, and we'll give you a what's up. Frank Dominguez is almost always the first one to the chat. Was dethroned today by Nisi. I'm sure he'll get his crown back at 4 o'clock this afternoon. He must be up in my attic sleeping or something. He must be asleep right now. I don't know. So hopefully, well, I guess not hopefully or anything, but as we can see here, we got some different people. We've got Plamola coming in second, which is pretty cool. BC Fishroom is here. Michael Hoffman, how you doing? Glass Boxes all the way from New Zealand, so it's the middle of the night for our New Zealand buddies. And BC Fishroom saying, "What's going on? It's not 4 p.m. That's right. 4 p.m. is our regular scheduled time, and there will be a regular show today. So anybody that may or may not be able to be here because like they're at work or something along those lines, I wholeheartedly understand, but we will do our typical 4 o'clock show. So with different content. So, I mean, you could stay today if you happen to be here. So Stoner Kivo 420. How's it going, Stoner Kivo? Fishhead 2925. Loving the theme songs. They're always weird and kind of, I would like to say that I put a lot of work into doing them ahead of time, but not really. It's just sort of like off the cuff, whatever weird rattling around up in here. So right on, thanks. John Gonzalez coming in. It's cold and wet in New England. Well, I'm right there with you, brother. It is cold and wet here on the West Coast. I'm on the northern West Coast, so maybe if you're in Europe, a landmark that you might know of, Seattle, I'm near there. So it is cold and wet for sure out here. Dwayne Kitchell, one of our regulars, is here. BC Fisherman's supposed to be working. Big Pedro's here. Thursday surprises. That's right. We got some Thursday early stuff. Danny's Aquariums is here. What's up, Danny? How you doing? Good to see you. It's 7:02 p.m. there in the Netherlands. So I think this seems like the 10 a.m. slot is kind of, if we're gonna try and do a European stream, this is pretty much the prime time, right? So hopefully it's working out for you guys. You're probably getting ready for dinner and stuff like that, but maybe we could chat it up a little bit while you're eating dinner. Michael Hoffman's here. This is awesome. I was bummed that I would miss tonight because I will be setting up my display up at the OCA convention tonight during the show. But now I get some surprises and shenanigans. That's right. So Michael Hoffman is out there at the OCA, the Ohio Cichlid Association convention, which is pretty exciting, you guys. So if you're in the area of Ohio, head out there and check. I guess that's even bigger than the Chicago Aquatic Experience, or the Aquatic Experience in Chicago, which next year will be in Jersey. So book your tickets for next year because I'll be doing that fairly soon myself. Carson Anderson's here. He's local. He's a local to here. Tim Lewis in Southern California. Dwayne's in Indiana. And Michael Hoffman in Ohio. Plamola is in the Netherlands. All right, we've got multiple people. We got multiple people from the Netherlands. All right, maybe I'll have to throw this out as the as the Netherlands. Then we'll do the early stream as the Netherlands stream, maybe. So Zach's Tanks Crazy Aquarium guy is here. What's going on? Good to see you. And okay, so Zach's Tanks is in Sweden. Oh, right on. Well, hello, Sweden. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Even Candy Overhauls is here, but luckily, so we have some of our moderators here, so it's pretty typical. Little of our moderators, Nisi, Glass Boxes, and Candy Overhauls, and Carson. Whoa, we've got a bunch of moderators here. That's good. So we do have a bunch of Americans, and we'll see as we go along here if we are reaching Europe or not. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Nathaniel John is tuning in from lunch here at work in Minnesota. Cool. So as the show goes along today, I'm sorry, I got to readjust in this seat here. I got to get more comfortable. There we go. As we rolling along today, we're noticing that maybe we'll just have a bunch of Americans, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I know that the Americans are for sure the YouTubers supremes out there. From all the analytics I've ever seen, the Americans are the number one consumers of the YouTube. So maybe we'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm excited to say hi to some people out there. One of the things that I wanted to release today was the Amazon has opened up the international Amazoning stuff. That you could be from the UK, you could be from Deutschland, the Netherlands, Spain, a couple other locations, Canada. And for whatever reason this morning when I was programming the HTML in, it would not take. So I was hoping to have that done in time for this show to go like, hey man, check out the Amazon links at Dark Star Arts, but if you're in America, still check out the Amazon link at Dark Star Arts before you go buying a bunch of stuff off of Amazon. But in the meantime, the Europeans, if a lot of Europeans out there are like, hey man, I want to contribute because I buy stuff on Amazon all the time, that will be operating very soon. Like I said, I was just programming away the HTML, and whatever reason, it just kept like, it would either put the link backwards or it would change the change the stupid website so that you couldn't even get to stuff. It was a little bit minor frustration, not a big deal. We'll get the workaround. I've messaged my bruh to see if he could go ahead and help me out with that, because I was probably putting a divider or something in the wrong spot, I would guess, if I had to guess. But if I had to guess, me trying to do it wasn't necessarily working. So sometimes you got to reach out and ask for some help. And luckily, I've got the hot ticket there. Let's see. Hi Frank, sorry about your heaters. Hello, just stopping by to say hello on my way to the local aquarium shop. 2 of my heaters broke. That is a drag. On a quick heater note here, in regards to the fish tanks going on here, Vicky's heater broke, which I never told her about. It broke the other day, and when I was going around to check on all the tanks, one of them was sitting right at 63 degrees, which is not a good temperature for tropical fish. Luckily, I happen to have spare heaters, swapped it out, double checked it this morning, and it is back up to 77. Nice and primo. I hate it when heaters go out. It is almost like, it's like, I already bought a heater, why don't you just work forever? Sadly, it's a part of the issue with the heaters, that the elements eventually will go out on them, and it does suck. And it's not a lot of fun, and realistically, like, repairing them isn't a great idea either. Honestly, you just realistically end up just having more issues than anything else. Oh, message retracted. What was it? I missed it. I missed it. What's up with these toothpicks? I got some new toothpicks here, and for whatever reason, they fall apart. I don't get it. A big Pedro's Northern California, so he's pretty local. Bearded Fish Keeper is local. Let's see, Frank. Oh, we already got that. I'm watching from super exotic location, Wisconsin. That's where our quarterback hails from, Russell Wilson. Well, he played there. I don't know if he's actually from Wisconsin or not, but I know he did play there. Sergeant Tank is mid-Michigander out there in Michigan. Lovely Michigan. We actually went there 2 years ago. Vicky and I both went to Michigan, and it was fantastic. Had a great time out there with the old Matt Weber. Let's see. V-Stag is here. What's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. And let's see. I don't know if we have any questions here. Already smashed the like, however, dismantled the keyboard. That's right. Hit that keyboard. Oh, and Eric B is asking, sponsors making you wear a plaidish shirt now? No, I almost always wear a button-down shirt, whether it's work or not. I have a tendency to not wear my typical work shirts on here because I wear black button-down shirts for work. So no, I mean, I almost always wear a collared shirt with pockets on it, almost every single day. So that is essentially my style, realistically, these days, is that I almost always wear some kind of button-down shirt. But no, it doesn't have anything to do with the sponsor. It doesn't have anything to do with the Aquarium Co-op or the Patreon. Most of the Patreon is the Patreonizers. You guys are really the sponsor of the show. The Aquarium Co-op is sponsoring and helping out with some equipment and things like that. But if you are looking for plants, dry goods, all that kind of stuff, and you're going to order them, why not order them from Aquarium Co-op? Because they have real quality stuff and generally good prices. And as you guys know, we're working on a podcast together, making more shows, more stuff for you guys. Have been getting into more of the kind of science nerd stuff. So I've definitely been getting a lot of emails from super science nerds that are like, "Oh man, you were totally wrong, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Hey man, look, I'm sorry that I misspoke a little bit in regards to some certain particular things along those lines. You know, my apologies. I always like to I always like that feedback. It definitely is great. If I misspoke or said something wrong, always remember to send me a message. You can either go to darkstararts.com. You can send it straight through YouTube. You could go to the Patreon and post it up in the community there. There's lots of ways to communicate with me. So loving on that. Love on that stuff. Let's see. BC Fish Room. I keep slowly murdering Java Fern. Goes brown, black, and gradually decays. Any ideas? Let's see. Yeah, I do have some ideas. Typically when I've seen things like that, either they're in too much direct light, which surprisingly enough, Java Fern is one of those. If you just blast it with a ton of light, will negatively affect it. From time to time, I think a lot of it has to do with its nutrient uptake. That, like, I think it starts to photosynthesize basically too quickly. Water temperature is always a problem with it turning black. I would double check your water temperature, because when I've kept Java Ferns in colder temperature, I've had that happen quite a bit, actually. Whenever I've typically had them turn black like that, it's not normally like a nutrient deficiency. Normally, if you see a nutrient deficiency in Java Fern, it will either turn yellow or end up growing holes in the leaves. So, yeah, I would. Those are the main things that I would look into and see what's going on with that. Rabalcar is here in Michigan. Too dang cold for you. I get it. It's wintertime, you guys. It is, and when it's wintertime in Michigan, it ain't no joke. It ain't no joke at all. It will totally. It's totally cold. Let's see. Michael Hoffman has some heater technology out there that's not that much more expensive. Discussed it with a few of the manufacturers, and they said the market won't support a heater that costs $30 more but lasts. Yeah. Oftentimes you have to take into consideration that a lot of these big companies are producing stuff, and they have all these price points and cost break and all that kind of stuff. You can really see a lot of that. You can definitely see a lot of that with like car production, right? Is that they could make a car that would last 50 years, but they'd put themselves out of business once they sold enough cars to people that never ever broke. So there is a cost consideration in what they produce. If they make something that's absolutely bulletproof, then you won't ever buy another one again. So what I've seen from most of the heater companies out there is they want them to last like 3 years is kind of the point where they want to go. So I've always given the advice to buy the Eheim heaters because they typically have a warranty on them if you save the box. If you save the retail box that it came in and it does break, you can take it back and turn it in, or you can take it back, or you could send it back and have them get you another one. More often than not, you can find a local retailer that sells those Eheim heaters and just go swap it out, and they'll do a change. Generally, like a big store like Petco or PetSmart or something like that. But I would always call and check ahead of time to make sure that that's something that you could do if you need to do. That's one of the reasons I give the advice to get those heaters and save the box, save the retail box that it came in. That's always kind of a point. Realistically, Zach's Tanks is saying that happened when I plant my Java Fern deep into the substrate. Yes, that will also stifle them out and generally kill them off because the roots will get rotten if you dunk them too deep into the substrate. If you do want Java Ferns to be planted on the substrate, what I always recommend is to take the plant out, kind of shake it off a little bit, add a little dab of super glue, gel type, to the bottom of the rhizome, and then just take a little rock and glue a little rock to the bottom of it. So you have kind of a natural little weight, and you can just drop them in there behind something, and then you just have these nice little Java Ferns growing up. That's exactly what I did in my 150. There's video of it somewhere. I have no idea where that video is, but I could probably post that up at, well, it's already posted on the YouTubes, right? You could probably look through it and find it. but I don't have a link or anything like that. And I may have done it in a live stream, so you may have to go back and watch every single live stream forever, which I would definitely recommend, to go back and watch every single live stream that has ever been on here, right? Isn't that a good recommendation? I think that's the way that I think that's the way we're supposed to recommend things, right? Like, just go watch every single thing ever. All right. So let's hold on. Let's pop over here real quick and click the thing, because this thing keeps just going bzz at me. All right, there we go. Let's what? Oh my God! What are you doing? Okay, there we go. Let's see. I went to the big box pet store to buy a heater the other day for $30 for a 12-gallon heater and a $39 for a 300-gallon. I could not buy the 20-gallon one after seeing the price. Yeah, I always buy the big heater myself. The price break is considerable, and I always try to remind people that with a heater, you actually will save on a little bit of electrical cost if you do buy the bigger heater. So the faster it heats up, it can turn off. It can turn up and turn off a lot quicker. And generally, they have a little bit better thermostat and heavier gauge wiring inside of it. So that's stuff that you could look for when you're making a consideration if you're buying a heater. That it might be, for instance, It might be $28 for the 100-watt, but it might be $34 for the 300-watt. So you could get a much better, bigger, nicer, kind of beefier heater that will actually take less time to heat up the water. So that's something to consider. Always look at the little price break. I know that I posted the heaters that I use in the Amazon. What is it called? In the Amazon influencer link or whatever. That is in there. As far as I know, it's in there. It should still be in there. There's no reason why it would be gone. The Fish Nerd is here. What's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. KG Cichlids is here, showing up on the early show. Alexandru F. Sullivan, what's going on, man? Good to see you today. Thanks for coming out for the early show. Been playing Marital Negotiation Battle for a long time. Let's see. Hey, what's the brand again for the heater? It's Eheim Jaeger is the one that you're looking for. That is the one that you're looking for. Glass Box is asking, what's a painting cost roughly? I don't know. I don't know what a painting costs roughly. You mean like one of my paintings or something? Between I would say between $200 and $400,000, somewhere in there, in that range. Starting at the low price of $200, going up to the high price of $400,000, and be able to take a nap and not have to be able to take a day off, right? They all have a thermostat. That is the problem. They need to have a thermocoupler. It's a good point. That's a good point, Michael. Yeah, it would be a lot better to have a thermocoupler in there instead. But you know, it is what it is. They're going to manufacture what they're going to manufacture. I've found those to be the best heaters around. They last the longest, and they have the most accurate temperature setting that I've found out of them. And they also do carry that warranty, so you're not completely screwed on your investment, if that makes sense. So you do have an opportunity to either try to get either a refund or a replacement, something along those lines. I know, not to point any fingers at any specific companies, but a lot of other heater companies out there that I've dealt with in the past were like, well, hey, it broke. I don't know. What do you want me to do? It's like, I want you to fix it. But the Eheim ones, they've always been pretty cool about that, as long as you save the retail box that it came in. Negotiate me a raise. That's pretty good. Yeah, the Eheims are the best. I just wish someone would get rid of the thermostats. Yes, I agree with that. Kevin Hayes is here. What's up, Kevin? Long time no see. Long time no see. Where you been? And let's see. Okay, I've got that open. Got that closed. Open the windows. Close the windows. Okay. So this is going to be a bit of a short stream here, you guys. So let's get to the video portion, which is starting in the middle for some reason. Here we go. All right. We'll just kind of chat over the video here because I don't seem to have like a ton of very specific planted tank questions or anything like that. Let's see. A 240. A 240 for your shrimps. Carlos saying, any ideas to add to my Christmas list? The wife wants to know. Yeah, a 240 would be a great thing. I would definitely put a 240-gallon, nice acrylic 240-gallon. I do have a bit of experience with that tank, and it's gangster. I love that tank. It's a great tank. Although you could go crazy big and be like, I need a 580 or something along those lines, and then walk back to a 240, right? Like, I need a giant custom thing, and then go back to maybe just getting a 240. That would be great. As you guys know, I've been saying Denarel wrong. It is said Denerla, which is the Shrimp King, the company that manufactures Shrimp King food. We're actually trying out the complete version of it this morning, and I recently found out I've been saying it wrong. It's a German company, and it's pronounced Denerla. So I'm going to try to do my best to keep saying it that way because Denerel's not right. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this a little bit is that in regards to our European subscribers and stuff like that, this is a shrimp food that you should be able to get fairly easily because it is produced in Germany. So it should be pretty readily available in the European market because they're part of the EU, right? So they should be trading and able to send stuff across the border, which is sometimes one of the issues that we have in the international stuff is that, for instance, somebody in the UK can't get a hold of the stuff that we can get a hold of in the United States because they're just not shipping it across the ocean or anything like that from here to there or there to here. But this Denerla product is actually one that I believe is available all across the board. And look at that terrible photo. Oops, I accidentally threw that one in there. Smooth. But in the middle of the time lapse here, we just have a couple of action shots. I was working on some stylized photos this morning in the off of the 150, which is currently the Chiricura cherry shrimps that are in there, which is a lot of fun. To shoot photos and stuff here. And as I said, I was just playing around with my camera, get some shots of some plants, and maybe inspire a few questions that maybe people out there have been having and stuff like, how did we get these plants so green? And that's a terrible picture too. What was I doing this morning when I was editing? Well, some of them are good. That one's cool. I like that one. So let's see. Zach's Tanks is saying, wow, that looks awesome. Fish are shrimps. Those fish are on crack. Look at them go. Bracken is asking, is this the early day, and are we having a 4 o'clock stream? Yes, we will have our regularly appointed 4 o'clock show today at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So we're testing the water here in regards to the European community wanting to be able to show up to some of the live shows and seeing if Thursday is going to work. We currently have only like 47 people in watching right now, so that is a bit of a lower number than usual. So maybe Thursday doesn't work. We'll try Tuesday we'll probably try Tuesday next week and see if we can't do an early show on that day. But also one of those things is that trying to do a day consistently or whatever, I would end up having to do like 2 shows 5 times a week, which is just too much for me to do right now because all the other income things that I need to do are chewing up that time. So the Fish Nerd says, I like the early streams because it means I can tune in at work. Oh, that's cool. It's a great way to be able to work and just have stuff going on in the background. Miguel Camacho called off work due to feeling like trash. Got lucky with the live stream. Well, you get twice as lucky today because there's actually 2 streams going on today. Tuesday is the RFT day. Oh, you're right. Real Fish Talk is on Tuesday. What am I talking about? Oh, you're right, Nisi. Thank you very much for reminding me of my own schedule. Smooth, very smooth on my behalf. Oh, the Fish Nerd's asking me what does my mug say? It says coffee makes me poop. A lot of big fans of this mug out there. There's a lot of big fans of this mug out there in the world. And we did make one that said Corvus makes me poop on it, and only one sold, and I know where it went. I'll give you a couple of guesses. It's somebody's spouse, not mine. Let's see. Roma Aquatics is here. What's up, man? Good to see you. Could you post it, Kevin, maybe on Facebook? Let's see. It really gives it a feeling of depth. I'm loving the combo so far and can grow from low to high-tech tanks. Let's see. So it's essentially low to high, front to back. Turbofish. I planted 29 BioCube with Ludwiga red and back, Crypt Wendetti. Everything growing in nicely. Oh, that's cool. The Fish Nerd is liking the Shrimp King foods. They also seem to go a lot further than expected as well. Yes, they actually do seem to stretch. This food actually seems to stretch out pretty far. It actually does quite a bit. I don't know that I'm enjoying the idea that there's like 6 different kinds of shrimp food. I do like. I would prefer 1 or 2. Like maybe 2, maybe 1 is like greens and maybe 1 is like protein or something like that. It's a little bit bonkers that there's so many kinds, because the last thing I want to do is order 6 different types of food, which clearly is more often than not the company's decision to go like, hey, we'll get more people to order more stuff because there's a whole bunch of different kinds. But I personally would like 1 or 2 kinds and kind of just leave it at that. But it is a little bit wonky that there's so many kinds. So it seems to be the only downside to it so far. They do definitely jump on it. They definitely feed very well. I haven't been using it long enough to say whether or not it's doing anything for for their shell health or anything along those lines, or their breeding or anything like that. So I can't really make an assumption yet, but they definitely do jump right on it and go kind of buck wild when it's feeding time. So that could be it could be good. Could mean a good thing. Could mean that it's also like the potato chips. It might be like the potato chips of there. Nathaniel John is asking, does anyone have any experience with the Aqueon LED lights? Are they any good, or do I spend a little extra for a Fluval? As far as I know, the Aqueons are pretty decent, but I will say that I've specifically been using the Fluval, Fresh Plant 2.0, on this 150 right here, and I am swapping the 240 over to 2 of those fixtures after having used this for a little while. I'm a big fan. I'm also a huge fan of the fact that it's water resistant. You can dunk this thing underwater. You can get water evaporation all over it and stuff like that, and it doesn't have a problem. So that's a huge selling point for me. Anybody like myself that's had some LEDs for a long time, it's been what's the word? Anybody's had like a LED fixture for a long time knows that the water creep and everything getting up into it is pretty much the main reason that they start to give out pretty quickly. I do have an Aqueon LED on the sump in my on the sump of my the sump of my reef tank. It actually runs the refugium down there. It is a bit beat up. It does have problems, and it does kind of short out from time to time, and does have a little bit of problem. So could I recommend the two? I would say my recommendation would be to spend the couple extra bucks on the Fluval. As you guys know, I don't have anything to do with Fluval as a company or anything like that. But there's the two things that I definitely recommend from them at this point, and that would be their Stratum substrate and the Fresh and Plant, or the Plant and Fresh 2.0, whatever. I can't remember the specific branding name of it, but the 2.0 new-ish LED light is pretty dope. I don't think haven't really found one that would be better, other than possibly building your own. But we're going to be doing some videos of building our own LEDs fairly soon here, so probably in the following month, I would guess, sometime in probably December, I would guess, is probably when we're going to get around to doing that. And that'll be in conjunction with some other people that you may or may not know. Are you watching live TFN? Oh, are you watching live The Fish Nerd? Got it. Yeah, you're watching live. Sometimes these things do get a little bit sketchy as far as the chat and all that kind of stuff goes, and whether or not it's refreshing or not. HC Aqua has an Aqueon. It's okay only. You know, one of the big things that I like about that Fluval light is that you can dim it. There is a controller on it. There is a controller that you can get, but you have to buy it separately, which is a little bit of a deterrent to me to go like, oh, come on, man. You have a programmable light, but you have to buy the whole unit separately. But I haven't found that to be hugely useful as far as planted tanks go. It is pretty useful as far as a reef goes, but I haven't encountered that situation, or I haven't had to deal with that situation yet for the reef, so I can't really knock it based on that you have to buy the controller separately, because I don't think you need it for a planted tank, because whatever dimness you have it set to, if you have this light on a timer, it will go back to the setting each day that you have it, so that you can slowly ramp it up over time if you like, so you're not going just 100% power right off the bat. Which is that is definitely a cool thing, that it does have the dimmer built into it. I've heard that the switch, from some people, I've heard that the switch has had problems, but from what I could gather, the dimmer switch was generally not working all that great when right when they got it, so they could actually send it back and get a different one. So I would always test it out, just like anything else you get. Test it out, make sure that everything works properly, because you could either send it back or bring it in and swap it out, or wherever you get it from. You could always swap it out if it's not working right off the bat. My dwarf chainswords are reaching tall and yellowing a little. I'm guessing it's my crappy T5 light. That could be part of it. I would also consider dosing a little bit of potassium if it's yellowing. Watson's Water Pets. I'm growing wisteria, Amazon sword, and Java moss. I've got fluorite substrate. Low tech beams work light. Would it help to use Easy Green or Easy Root Tabs, or both? I would honestly consider using both if that's within your budget. If it's something within your budget, I would consider using both. If that's something that you could do, if it's not going to really affect your decision-making process, I would kind of just go with both. But if I was going to go with one or the other, I would definitely go with an Easy Green or a fertilizer to the water column. Much easier to control, much easier to pay attention to what you're doing. More often than not, you can add root tabs into something and kind of have an ongoing problem because you aren't really sure exactly what was in the root tab, what went into it, and what may be over-fertilized at this point. So you might get an algae bloom, you might be having some problems. So I would go with a liquid thing because you can always, do a little bit of a water change if you need to. You're like, oh no, I over-fertilized. Okay, I can just go ahead and do a bit of a water change, and that would be my recommendation. That if you could only go with one, I would go with I would go with fertilizing the water column myself. But from the plants that you have there, wisteria is not going to need root tabs. Java moss is definitely going to not going to need any root tabs. The only thing that would require root tabs over time would be those Amazon swords that you have in there. They're real heavy root feeders. They generally grow a large root ball and sometimes outcompete themselves for nutrients, which is a little bit funny, but they're a fantastic erosion control plant for that reason. But a root tab under each one of them, and you'll probably be set for quite a long time, especially considering that you have it set up pretty kind of low tech. So look into that. Let's see here. Phil Emerson, what's up? I really like the scrolling patronizers. I like it too. I think it's kind of fun. I do have to redo it because I spelled some people's names wrong, which is completely my fault. I think some people pointed out. Plus, we have some new patronizers. If you're considering patronizing the show because you like these shows, you like more of these shows, I would very much appreciate it. It means that we'd be able to make more of these shows. And so check out the Patreon if you can, and hopefully, post up $1 or whatever that you want to put on there. It's once a month thing. So we have a lot of people that do $10, $20, $5, $1, whatever. It's just at the end of the month you get charged once. So if this seems like it's worth a couple of bucks for you, go ahead and throw them up on there. It's a really great way to support. It doesn't take a ton of the percentage of the money. Oh, and hey, we have greetings from Denmark. I may or may not have a lot of Danish heritage. See me get excited? See me get excited for Denmark? Yeah. I'd like to be the #1 aquarist in Denmark, right? I want to be the #1 show in Denmark. I have a super Danish last name if you've ever seen it before. But let's see. So Kim SB Blomberg. Oh man, I screwed that up, I'm sure. But hi Kim, how's it going? Greetings from Denmark. Just started dosing fertilizers. What background plants would you recommend for a beginner? Okay, that's a great question. We'll run through those. We'll run through those really quickly. But since I was well, I don't know. I guess we'll just leave. I'm not going to change scenes. I like this scene. It's pretty good. So some background plants for a beginner. I would always recommend some of the large Anubias. That is almost, and some Anubias right there. There's some little Anubias. That's a little Anubias nana petite right there. Just kind of stuck up in these little branches here where they're going to grow in and make fake foliage. Right? They're going to make that faux foliage, because we got an aquascape here where it's man-made. It's man-made beautification, right? Background plants for a beginner, I would always recommend Anubias for any beginner out there. The one downside to Anubias is it grows really slowly. Generally speaking, most of the beginner plants and stuff like that are real nice slow growers. But it's a real hardy plant that you can't really. It's very difficult to screw them up. It's most of the beginner plants are slow growers because the slow growers are hardy. There we go. If I could get through the sentence there. Java fern is always a fantastic background plant. I would also, let me think here. I'm trying to recommend some background plants. I would possibly look into some crinum, some onion plants, that kind of stuff. I would definitely check out some crinum. They do grow up nice and tall and make a fantastic background plant. And them being a bulb, they're really easy to plant and just forget about. So it's a fantastic thing for beginners because you can get the dried bulbs. So you can actually order a whole bunch of the bulbs and be just like gardening, planting tulips. It'd just be like planting tulips. You plant the bulb in there and then, basically just come back a couple weeks later. So I would definitely go that route. And with probably some crinum, I would also possibly take some. Most people would say Valsneria, but I don't recommend Valsneria for people. They grow, for beginners especially, I know a lot of people say Valsneria. I don't. It just will overtake your tank and generally be kind of a big pain in the butt, realistically, as time goes on. I would also think that a great recommendation would be some real tall, Jennifer just posted up there right as I was about to say it, some nice tall cryptocrine. You can see them. I typically use crypts as a middle ground plant, but there are a lot of crypts that can grow up really tall, and they're a real fantastic plant that you don't have to put a ton of light in there, which is generally one of the big issues that people find when they're a beginner in the planted aquarium. They're like, I don't have enough light. It seems like I don't have enough light in here. I'm trying to figure out the lights and all that kind of stuff. So that comes up quite a bit. So if you're kind of just starting out, then that would be a recommendation that I got for you. Hopefully I answered your question, or maybe I just rambled on for a long time. Hoping to talk about it in the next few weeks video, doing a start to finish of setting up a tank for crystal black shrimp. Oh, fantastic, fish nerd. I love that. So let's see here. HC Aqua, I prefer Stratum by far over EcoComplete. I went as far as to change the EcoComplete out for Stratum in one of my tanks. If you do already have EcoComplete, you can actually add it to you can actually add Stratum to the EcoComplete. That is not really a bad move, realistically. Love this. Greetings. Trying to read everything here. Let's see. Did I get down to the bottom of the chat somehow? Oh, Bill Elsden is here. Ayo, what's up, man? Aquariums Anonymous is here. Zach's Tanks is saying, let me see here. Oh, I scrolled like way down in the chat. That's my bad. I don't know. Somebody asked a good question and I missed it. Excuse me. Zach's Tanks was asking that YouTube takes about 40% of the cut. They take more than 40% of the cut. It's like, depending on your channel, it's 40%, or it's 45 and up, depending on your channel. It's weird how they do it, but 45 is the base, essentially. 45%. And Kevin Hayes dropping a $2 super chat with the Nichols cuz. Right on. Thanks, man. Thanks for the super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Glass boxes had to go to bed. I know it's late in New Zealand. Aquariums Anonymous is here. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Let's see. Yeah, Turbo, my man Turbo Fish. I will actually be answering that question later. I'll answer that in the later stream. I'd really appreciate your opinion on a 29-gallon planted tank for Celestial Apparel Daniels. I'll actually talk about that later today because pretty similar with the Galaxy Rasboras, because that's one of the things that I'm doing in the 240 is kind of converting it for the Galaxy Rasboras. So that's something that I'll talk about probably later today or tomorrow. So I'll definitely get in depth into that later. Frank Dominguez went to buy heaters, bought plants, fish, and almost a new tank. Let's see. Riding with Joel. Yeah, that's me. Let's see. Dwayne Kitchell, Joel, I appreciate the Patreon list scrolling, but the whole time this video has been running, I felt like closing credits were going on, just like the show was ending. That's right. Well, here's the thing: when it gets this big, then you know we're getting to the end. Because when they get this big, that's how you know we're getting to the end, which means we are getting close to the end. So let's see here. That's right. HC Aqua picked up on it. Galaxy Rasboras, Celestial Pearl Danios, same fish. But yes, that was my reasoning for talking about how we're going to be talking about that later, because that is a lot of what's happening with the 240. And check this out, I can even make myself change size too. I can float around. And I can change the size too. So the Danio Margaritatas is going. We're going to be having more conversations with that. If you've been following along this week, you've noticed that I've been doing a bunch of work in the 240, and this is mainly the reason that we're setting it up. We're setting up the 240 to bring in about 150 of those buggers. That's going to be the plan of what goes in there long term. Is going to be a school of those. I'm going to have to move the. I'm going to have to move the. What's the word? I have to move the killifish out of there because they will just annihilate that that little school because that's just kind of what they do. Kevin Keener's asking, did I get the whiteboard feature back? Yes, I have the whiteboard. I just have to turn it on. It's not turned on right now. At first, they thought that it was a Rasbora. That's right. It is a Danio. Roma Aquatics, $2 super chat equals 110 after $1.10 after YouTube takes their cut, plus the 42 cents from, well, let me see. Let me think here. 44 cents that would go to taxes as an individual proprietor. So start to add that up. It starts to become a weird situation where somebody gave you $2, but you only get 71 cents or something like that by the end of it. So a little bit goofy, but that's just kind of the reality. That's one of the reasons that we started the Patreon, so that we could turn off all the money that YouTube makes, because YouTube's taken all the money. That's just kind of what they do. They have a stranglehold. They have a stranglehold on the money because this is pretty much the only place to post videos and stuff like that. Kevin Keener says, good, the whiteboard feature has such comic potential. It really does. I really have to pay attention to what I'm trying to draw with the mouse, because I'm not very good at drawing with the mouse. So it's kind of one of those things. Aquariums Anonymous, I'm thinking about getting CPDs this week. Yeah, why not? Just do it. Just do it. It's not a bad thing. Kim Blomberg from Denmark says, I know a Danish dude who's gonna order some crypts tonight. Thanks a lot for the advice. Ooh, awesome. If you got somebody that's ordering in some crypts in your area, it's always a good idea to piggyback on that order, get in there, and get some stuff for yourself. That's always a great idea, especially if you do a group order. You're definitely going to save a lot of money in regards to the shipping and all that kind of stuff. So if you have to order stuff in, always remember to try and group order it if you can. And great. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of the show here with the Plywood Pelican showing up late. That's because the Americans don't know what time it is right now. But the regular 4 o'clock show will be coming up. And so I just wanted to mention that the regular 4 o'clock show will be regularly at 4 o'clock. And we definitely have some different stuff that I'm working on for that show. We have different content, so it's not going to be the same show. It'll be a different show. This one was directed at the Europeans. We'll see how the analytics break out, right? We got up to 55. We got up to 55 live. I have no idea how many likes that is because I don't have that on feature turned on over here. Is that it? I just like to find out later. I like it to be a surprise. So, I guess if you didn't hit the like button, I guess you're supposed to. Roma Aquatics with the $2 super chat for YouTube. Corvus gets a gumball. Thank you very much. Very appreciated. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Goes back into turning on the stuff. We have the internet guy coming here tomorrow morning to, throw a carburetor on the internet and speed it up and around and stuff like that. And super chats like that will go towards upping the ante. I know some people have been saying, "Hey, man, we want more high definition live streams and stuff like that." Well, those will be coming down the pipe. This is step one to getting that stuff rocking and rolling. So we'll see how that goes. That also will give us an availability for more collaborative shows because I won't have to deal with the bottleneck here of communicating back and forth over the internet to other people. So those of you out there that wanted to do some remote collaborations, like maybe a Google Hangout, or maybe you have Wirecast and you want me to call in on your show or something like that, feel free to head over to Darkstar Arts and hit me up, or become a patronizer, and you can message me on Patreon. That's always a great way to do it. Hopefully everybody out there has a fantastic day. We're going to shut down the show here and head on out with, I don't know, what's the word? What's the word we're looking for as we head out here? I'm not sure. Later. Has anybody seen that button?